First of all, what a group we have here today. More than 80 people signed up to attend, which is just so amazing considering it's only our second time doing it. We thank you for being here, and we thank you for your support of women in backgammon. But mostly, we want to thank today our first sponsor, Sue Baxter from FM Home Loans. She loves numbers, which I guess is why she's in mortgages, and she supports women. So thank you to FM Home Loans for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you to FM Home Loans for sponsoring this event, and Sue Baxter for her support. So today we welcome David Presser from Israel and Eva Žižková from the Czech Republic. All sessions are being held on the second Tuesday of December, alternating times to be convenient for America, Europe, and Asia audiences. So welcome to Eva and to David Presser. David Presser recently won the prestigious 8th Merit Open Masters Championship in North Cyprus, the largest backgammon tournament in the world. David is a vice president of the Backgammon Masters awarding body, which we refer to as the BMAB. And if you're curious about that, by the way, Karen did a little video session for us. It's on our social media if you want a better explanation of what it's all about. And he's a BMAB Grandmaster Class 3. He organized the first BMAB events in the United States in 2012 while studying for an MBA at Northwestern University. He's highly respected author, player, teacher, and lecturer. David, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for hosting me. For me, it's an honor just to be invited and to take part in this great initiative of
we're really excited to also have you play today. Eva Žižková from the Czech Republic, who first started playing backgammon in 2003 as a game to play with her then 5-year-old son, who's known as Zizi, thank God, who is now one of the youngest grandmasters in history. But Eva has one of the best performance ratings of any woman player in Europe. She's at 4.79 on the pending BMAB application list as a Master Class 3, and she's a star in her own right. I was really grateful to be able to meet her out in Los Angeles last week, where she was so generous with her thoughts and her time. She finished third in the ladies' event at this year's 8th Merit Open and has played for the Czech team in the World Team Championship in Montenegro in 2019. But Eva's English is better than our Czech, trust me on this, but she's decided to concentrate on her game, and she'll hold her comments for the post-review session. So she will be speaking after she's finished playing. So David, I'm going to turn it over to you. Good match to you both.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to make clear that the purpose of today's session is to play, but not necessarily to see how fun the game is. We probably all know that. That's why we are here and play this game. The focus for me and for Eva is to share our thinking process and how we approach the position. So it's not that easy to make your plays and articulate yourself. So I'll try my best while I play, but the importance of this meeting is the analysis, which I hope will have the time just as much as the playing session. And that's why we're going to make it a quick match of a 3-point match, hoping that we'll have plenty of time for the analysis, where that's the part that at least I enjoy, and I hope that you enjoy as much as playing, and where that's the part that we get to benefit and improve our game. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. So now we have a shared screen, and I'm going to open my Heroes account. So I'm going to put it here such that everyone can see that. And yeah, I'm logging in, and Eva and I will play a 3-point match, hoping we won't embarrass ourselves too much, but we never know until the end. So I'm going to invite her. We did a practice session before then, and we saw that we probably need some good clock time. I don't see how I can add more than 121. 120 and 12 will do. I think that is the most that I can do here. Oh, yeah.
ABT too, yeah.
Yeah, I see that. So I'll do that. Should give us some more time so we can speak. Before I invite Eva, I want to say that if you have any questions, you're welcome to jump in, but it's not going to be easy for me to answer all those questions while I play. So I think unless it's something that is critical for that point in the match, perhaps we can hold those questions and make sure to ask them as we analyze, because those are important. That's exactly why I'm here. I want us all to be part of this analysis process, but it's quite challenging to play, explain your thinking process, and also answer questions. So here we go. And I sent a challenge to Eva. Hopefully she will accept it. And we are playing. In the beginning, it's pretty standard and normal. So I have a 4-2 that I'm playing. That's a great opening roll. Normally, checker play doubles should be played in pairs because we make 2 points, and every point in this game is an asset which has value. So that way, even if we can make one very good point, we get to make 2 points that may be less of value, each one of those, but together they're probably better than the one strong point we could have made, like the offensive 5. She could have made that, but she made the defensive 5 and the 9 points. Okay, I roll. The way I see it, once Eva has that advanced anchor, I must split. I cannot stay with my back checkers. I know I'm placing myself under the gun, but I have to split here. I may run, but I want to try to go for the advanced anchor, even though I'm under the gun, because I have the better board. So I'm taking the risk and playing bold. So Eva now has a 5-3. She may attack for the 5 or make the 3 points. It's not that trivial, but she now needs to play safe. I agree with her play. She has the weaker board already with double falls. She has the race lead, so she played it safe. I roll. Now I have to run with one of those checkers. The race is pretty close. What I'm going to do is run with the front guy. I'm running with this guy because A, I don't want to place myself under the gun, and B, if she gets to hit me, at least I get her to pay a price in the form of breaking a point, such that I may try to attack next. So she manages to hit me, which with her race lead, that's the right play. And she also gets to run one checker home. So that was a good roll for her. And now I roll and I get to anchor. That's quite a valuable point. The last exchange of rolls was not to my favor, but at least I got the most out of it. So I keep it simple. So she now plays safe. That's the play, plays safe. She may have wanted to make the 11 point, but there was no remaining ace to play with that. So she played the safest. Right now, her game plan is the race, so she played accordingly. I roll, I have a 4-1. I need to take my risks. So I am hitting. I'm behind the race. Paul McGreal, old book, which many of us consider as the Bible of Backgammon. The chapter of ball versus safe is still very relevant. It survived the test of time and the bots. So the ball versus safe criteria all suggest to play ball here, which is why I do that. So yeah, she could not hit me. She plays safe again because she plays for the race. I'm starting to think of the cube, but I am not there yet. I may be a favorite now, not even clear, but definitely not in a place that I want to cube her. Essentially, the point that I want to cube my opponent is one roll before we have a pass. So that is the best way to cube. Not easy to put it into numbers, but essentially, I think that I am not there yet. So I'm going to take another roll. I have a 3-1. So now, since I'm behind the race, what I'm going to do is make the 5 point, of course, and I'm playing the 3 down. Right now, best game plan looks like the prime. So I'm aiming at making the 7 point, which would give me a very strong 5 prime. And I can play bold, as I mentioned, per the bold versus safe criteria. now Eva could not run, and she makes the bar point. She needed to play safe now. I'm not sure if it was the right idea, because she also gave me added good numbers, and it doesn't answer the safe versus bold consideration. I'm now thinking of the cube. I see that if I make the bar point, I certainly lose my market. If I hate with the ace, I'm very likely to lose the market. So I rather stop myself from talking, because I first want to make it her problem. So I'm sending the cube. At this score, we should even be more aggressive than a money game. Even though it's a tight score, we should be slightly more aggressive. So because the take point is a few percent higher than money. So also the sending point and the take point are a bit more aggressive. So I'm sending the cube. So Eva takes it, and it is a take for money. I'm not sure the score, to be honest. And now I'm facing a tough position myself. Should I make the bar point and get the 5 prime, or should I hit and escape? The 5 prime gives her some ways to get back to the game with the ace that hits me, and she has this solid blocking structure. So I'm going to run and hit, because I get to escape a checker from her good blocking structure. Never underestimate the 4 prime. And I have the better board, so I play bold. So now she's a bit off in a problem, could very well be. I'm switching gears now. I'm switching to a blitz. I make the 3 point. I hit on the bar, and I, again, don't underestimate the value of a 4 point blocking structure. So I escape the last checker. That would be the last 5. She enters. Again, I'm in a blitz mode. So when we are blitzing, which a blitz is the extreme form of attacking. That means it's like the equivalent of all in poker. So since I am blitzing, the order of points is the same for whatever point that I have in the home board. The 5 point and the ace point are equal in value. So I'm switching points here. It's not because I'm afraid of hitting loose, but more because if I get hit, it slows my blitz potential. So that's what I'm doing. And then I have one more 3 to play. And so I'm just, I'm not afraid of her double 4s, but just play this one because there's nothing else that is really, really special. So that would be my last 3. And the 5-1. So I don't want her to anchor on the deuce, but I can make the valuable 4 point. If she anchors, it's we get to a deuce point game. If not, I will continue with the blitz. So she anchors. Now we are down to a 2-point game. And notice that with every roll, I'm thinking, what is my game plan? I'm always focused on the strategy. Understanding the strategy pretty much minimizes the blunders. We all make mistakes and errors. Those are part of the game, but we want to avoid the blunders. Now, I have an interesting question. Do I want to make the bar points? I'm not afraid of her jokers, given her weak board, but why should I make a point that I want to clear soon? The way I see it, the answer is because I still have some work on bearing in, so I'm going to make it for now. I'm not sure it's right. Okay, so double 5s. I bring my checkers home. 2, 3, and 4. The reason I was thinking of the bar point and that I did not want it was that the bar point is the Achilles heel of the deuce point game. We really don't want to have it as the last point to clear against the deuce point, because 5s are played very bad. So now, if I play the safest, I'm going to have to play to the ace. For that reason, I rather clear my bar point now. As I said, it's the Achilles heel, and it's sort of a pay now position. I'm okay if I get hit here, given Eva's board. And here we go. So Now I'm switching to the bearing off, and no reason not to bear a checker off. I cannot avoid the only exposing number of 6-4. So right now, whenever I can, I'm going to bear a checker off. So take one off and play safe. That's pretty trivial. That's a good roll for me, as now she crunched her board such that even if she gets hit, it doesn't mean that I lost. I could not take checkers off, but I still clear the point. Every point that we clear gets us closer to winning the game. 5-4. I'm leaving a shot. She missed. I'm not going to leave a shot, but by staying back like she did, she basically slows me from bearing off. So it helped her. That was a good move. Many would run here, but it slows my bearing off in a way. I would have wanted to place the checker on the deuce point, but I could not. So now she needs to run because it's hard for her to turn the game around. So she should fear the gammon. And well, that's good that she managed to save it such that we have another game to talk. So I start with a 6-5. We are at Crawford. So she cannot cube me now. 2-1. So this is my 2. And it's pretty close. It's marginal, but I know opening. So it's pretty much tied, I think. But I will step up with the ace. I would not hit, but it worked out. 5-1 to make a point. Obviously, maybe the ace point was better to make because that way she could keep the 8. I keep it simple. Now I'm the one that needs to play safe. Now one more 5. The question is whether to hit or come out. It could be that she won't need to be aggressive now more for the tempo to pick that second checker. I enter. I would not hit if it was giving me, if I wasn't needing that for the race. So I hit now, and then the question is the 4. I can hit the second one, but I'm just going to keep it simple and safe. And it worked. I have a small race lead. So yeah, that's not a bad 6, but it is a great double 2s for me. That's 2. That is 3. And I may step down with the last one. First, I'm happy I made 2 points. I'm always looking to make points. I want to step down with the last one. 6-3, 5-4, 6-4 gives 6 hitting numbers. Some are duplicated. I'm not sure about this one, to be honest. I will follow the board versus safe guidelines. So I'm going to play this one safe and just play the remaining one 8-6. So Eva, she should make a bold play, probably keep the bar point slotted because she has nothing to lose right now. Yeah, that sounds right. So I roll a great number, double 6s. So I hit, and then I can make the 3, which is good, or I can play for this prime, which is also good. And I'm not sure. And if I make the 3, I have one remaining 6 to play, which is here, and brings many return shots. With this one, I have a great prime. Whew. And I also give her many return shots. I'm not sure at all. 5s and 6s and 2s. There's a little bit of duplication. It's good for coming home. I suspect I'm going to make that play fast, that this leaves fewer return shots. So I'm going to make that one.
David, watch the clock.
Yes, thank you. I'm aware of the clock. So she danced. I'm playing safely now. So I minimize the shots this way. So she will now play so either a back game or a forward game. And I am playing for the race. So I step up, I take that risk. Perhaps a switch is in place. She can try to build the prime afterwards. It's still a 4 prime, something like that. Yeah, that's a good play. Do I break the midpoint and play it down? I give her many hitting numbers. That way, she has a good board. So I think I'm going to play this one safely. So now the timing is such that there's no potential backgammon really. So that's the game, the play. It's about switching to a forward play. That's yeah, I think she needs to try and combine it. Prime or attack later is the best solution. This looks right. And I roll what is a joker for me, so I can escape the checker. That's the main goal. I'm not interested in attacking right now. So that was a super joker for me. So yeah, she needs to walk on her board. And with these double twos, I can hit, but I'm not interested. I'm playing safe. I'm playing safe right now. So I move this point forward. And yeah, that could be right. The checker on the ace is making problems for me, but also that anchor can be worthwhile. That's not an easy play for Eva. Well, she has 8 minutes to think about that. So the 4-1. I don't want her to anchor my ace. I'm actually not going to hit her here. I'm going to play this one safe. For me, there's no point in hitting here. Maybe she even wants something that forces her out. Yeah, so she anchors there. She has to. And now the 5-2. I'm going to break the 8. I need to clear the point, so I'm going to do it now. Not the farthest point, but sometimes the second farthest is good. Still serves my racing game plan. Well, that is forced. And she missed me. Double twos. Yes, that was tough. I didn't think about what she had there. Anyway, that was a good outcome for me. 5-4. Obviously, I don't hit and I play safe. So now all I need is a single game. I'm going to try to bear off. Once again, we find ourselves in a deuce point game. And by bearing 2 checkers off, I think I played the safest. I have 6 checkers on the 6 point. So I will want to keep it even. So that's the play. Yeah, she better escape here. 2-1, and I'm going to give myself some flexibility, I think. Now with 5 checkers, I have some risk. And yeah, I think so. Five, 2. That's pretty good. Now I'm even. And so I make sure that I stay even. Maybe I want to go here. 6-5 leaves a shot either way. So I had 2 shot leaving numbers. If I would have stayed with the first option, and the 6-4 would have left the shot. So now she stays there for the potential shot, and she got it. Now, with so many, I'm leaving a shot, but I'm taking a checker off. She hit me, but I gave her 2 extra shots because the extra checker off was worth it. I'll talk about it in the analysis. Now I want to make sure that I don't lose on time. And if I lose, it's because she was well. So that's the 6-2. And 1. Looks like I won. Yeah, and double 4s. Okay, that was a nice match. We're going to save it and put it on XG. And now we're about to discuss it. So while I do that, Eva, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you for the game.
Thank you. What do you think about this match? How was the experience for you?
I think some difficult play for me. So I am wonder for you explain.
Yeah, we had some tough decisions. What were you? What did you find most challenging?
Sorry.
What position was most challenging for you?
It was in the first game. So I don't remember well. So we will see.
Okay.
I think it was my mistake. I make bar point against your high anchor. I think it was a mistake. I give you shot and but I'm not sure what move is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
in the second game.
I think it was the first game, but I'm not sure just now.
Okay, we'll see. So that's the analysis for on the XG. So we have time. So since it was a fairly quick match, 2 games only, we will talk about all the match. I like to analyze everything because the fact that I got something right doesn't mean that it was correct. What I can say for Eva is that very nice on the take, which was correct in this match on the first game. I wasn't sure myself, so very nice. So we're going to go play by play, and feel free, everyone, to jump in if you have something to comment, to ask. And Eva, especially you, we want to hear your thinking process in some of the positions that you had. So because
David, why did you, I have a private message here from someone. Why do you think that was a good take on the first match? And Eva, did you consider not taking it? I mean, was it an obvious take for you?
No, it was a little bit difficult take for me because it's a short match and it was a little bit gammonish, but I think David, could you show the position, please? I don't remember. Yeah.
This one, well, it's a very small take.
Yeah, I have four board and David has to escape and he doesn't hit me, so I have a nice game still. So and Gammon are only 15%, so I think it's but it was close as I see now. But I was it was scary for me. Yeah.
Well, I will just say
Yeah,
add that.
and the real my move before it's 6-2. Yeah, that's the move I talked before.
Oh,
That
yeah,
yeah. It was
I
my
see.
mistake. Yeah, I I
Yeah,
was not sure here. Yeah.
I will get to that soon. I think noticed that when we played, it made the cube very easy for me. And basically here, you said that it wasn't. It was a scary take. I'm happy you said it because it's a common mistake by many that if something is a scary take, it's better not to take it. If something is a scary take, it can be a big take, but still a take. Something that may be unpleasant, but a big take, and we need to take it.
Yeah.
So it happens to be a small one here, but the fact that something is a scary take can also mean it's a big one, so it's not a good enough reason to pass. I was not sure here because I knew it's a comfortable double and take for money. And like I said, at the score, that specific score, if because winning on the turned cube takes us to Crawford, the take point for this score is slightly higher than money. So those few percent got me to wonder whether it's a take, but it's very close, and it's not that I could imagine it's that close. So that's why we were debating that. Okay.
So we have Marty Storr, who is a
Oh.
grandmaster with us today, and he has a question for Eva. Marty, can you go off mute and pose your question to Eva?
Yes. So I was thinking that perhaps, Eva, you saw the fact that after you made your bar point, David had aces duplicated to hit and to make the bar point, and also 6-2. That might have been a reason for choosing that play.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah. But if he makes the bar point, so I am on the prime and yeah, I am behind the prime. So for me, it's worst if he makes bar point, then he hits me. I think, because if he hits me, I can make anchor. But if he makes bar point, I think it's for me worst. Yeah. If you understand my English.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I agree with David and Backgammon that it's wrong to make a bar point, but it's it is. I just wanted to observe that. You look at something like all these duplications, you might say, oh, that's a good reason to make the bar point. But in fact, you're giving yourself a second problem. Your first problem is to escape your back checker, and your second is to clear your outside blot. So maybe it was just better probably to go 9-3 and slot your 4 point or something like that.
Yeah, and if I can say, Marty, thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you in the audience.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you, David. My pleasure.
Okay, so like I said, if someone has a question, feel free to jump in. Now would be the time for that. So far in the opening, it's pretty standard. As I said, early to middle game, doublets, I'm always looking to play them in pairs to make assets, to make points, and points are assets. So that was a great opening role for Eva. Right now, since she has the advanced anchor, as I said, I should have escaped. I should have split. I must counter with an advanced anchor of my own. So I split whether to run or not. I decided to stay on the 20 and under the gun, given that I have the better board. So I can play bold and aim for the advanced anchor. Counter to that, Eva needs to play safe. So making the point is very much in place rather than hitting on the 3 points. Yeah, someone said. Okay, so I have an echo. Where is it coming from? Okay, no echo now, so we're good.
Yeah, we have someone who needs to leave. So a quick question on the last game, and it's
Sure.
by his memory. Double sixes, why not hit on ace point? 2 on the bar, better timing, question mark?
Well, first of all, it was my blunder of the match. Why not hit on the ace point? I'm looking to win the game. I have no interest in gammons, and definitely I have no interest in the ace point once Eva has anchored on the deuce. So if whether I prime or attack, all the points that I'm focused on are in front of the anchor. So with either this play or that play, there are return shots. I'm not sure that I get, I'm not sure which play was meant to hit on the ace, but either way, I'm not sure that such a play or something like that gets fewer return shots. So it was not an easy play for roll for me. I had a bit of time pressure, but I would look at I compare the return hitting numbers for Eva for either alternative of those. And in this case, I missed it and I blundered. And in a way, I'm happy that I did because, like I said, we all make mistakes in this game. All we want to do is minimize the blunders. It can happen to us all. It's a big part of the game. I hope I answered that to satisfaction. I'm going back to where we were, the 6-5. I ran one of those back checkers. Unfortunately, I could not anchor, so I decided to run the one that was under the gun for the reasons that I mentioned. The opponent may get a shot next, and I rather make her pay a price. So given that I'm about to be attacked, I preferred to make sure that at least I gain something on the bad case scenario. And she rolled well by hitting and escaping. I anchored in most positions in the game. It's very simple and straightforward. We don't need to be creative all the time. So I don't fight to find the creative plays. So now Eva was playing for the race, so she was playing safe. And Eva, if there's something that you want to share in the thinking process in your positions, feel free to jump in. I, on the other hand, want to play board. I'm behind the race. I have a better board, and I want to stop her before she escapes the last remaining checker. So I was taking a risk here by hitting and playing the 4 down. She missed me, and now was a key brawl where I realized that my best game plan is the prime. That's why I made this play. And for this game, the way I see it is about strategy. We need to understand our strategy. If we understand the strategy, we pretty much eliminate the blunders, because in most cases, if we make mistake in executing our strategy, it's an error at best. But missing on what is the correct strategy often leads to a blunder. So for instance, if I want to attack here, so I get that checker in to play and be ready to attack, then now I blundered in missing the game plan. That play serves the prime strategy best. So that's the one I made. As I said, and it was discussed, I think that Eva should have played safe. Her best game plan is the race. So even though she duplicated aces, she also gave me some added numbers and risked another checker being sent back. So that was quite a big risk. As bad as it is, it's a case to play safe, and this is the safe play. I have a saying about that I say often to those that I talk with about the backgammon, and that is that I rather win ugly than lose beauty. This
Yeah,
is
that's my common mistake because I don't like put the checkers behind your anchor. Yeah, so
yeah,
that's my
that's
common.
the awkward looking play, but it's the play that serves the game plan. That's why I picked that one. I would have made something like that. And this one that looks right, looks nice. It's not in line with the game plan to play for the race, to play safe. So that's the one that was wrong. Here, we talked about the double, and this, because of the score, it was quite close. My 6-2 was not easy, and I was committed to the prime, but because I risk that blot on my midpoint, and I see that I give her a way to turn this game around, I figured that I should switch to attack, which I did. That's why I went and hit the 3-5. I guess it was too much here.
That's again,
Yeah.
because I don't like the safe play.
8-3, yeah, but sometimes we need to play safe.
Yeah.
It's not that clear here, but it wasn't easy play, that is for sure. I'm not sure also, I would struggle with this one personally, but luckily I don't face all those problems myself when I play. I just face one side of the board problems, which is enough. This great roll for me was a sign to switch to a blitz. So I was all in, hitting, making home board points. The double threes, I was with the blitz, so I kept with the switch of the point. If I miss the game plan, suppose I hit loose, now we're in the blunder territory. Since I have the game plan, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, David, somebody saying that take becomes a 0.110 blunder in a 1296 game rollout.
0.11 blunder in such a rollout. First of all, that may be. Second of all, if we do a rollout, I'm not sure that such a rollout is robust. So maybe an extended rollout is in place, but it may be. So it's like we want to look at the representative sample, so we need to have something that is representative. This is, I'm not sure that such a rollout is representative enough. So it's hard to comment any further. So back to the double three, the game plan was the blitz, and I had a small error, but that's the kind of mistakes that I can absorb if I'm with the right game plan. So I'm okay with that. I'll try to do better next time, but I have the right idea, so it's only an error. Why is that better? Obviously, we can explain, but the way I see it, that such differences, I don't focus much on those because it's more for the intellectual interest. If I want to improve my game, I focus on either the blunders or that are mistakes that are close to a blunder. That's where the real change in the game and the potential to improve lies. So that is fun to talk, but it's not worth much of our time. So now I made this valuable 4-point when I was ready to either continue with the blitz or play against a deuce point game. That was not an easy play for Eva here, because there's a lot of gammons at risk. If she hits me, But on the other hand, if she doesn't, she reduces the winning chances significantly. It's very hard to do this trade-off here. It's very hard to crunch the numbers. I would certainly struggle with this one. I'm also, it's also a potential blunder for me. Eva, did you consider hitting here?
Yeah, of course, but I was so scared about Backgammon, yeah, because I see too much return shots, so
Yeah.
I was too scared, you know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will say that it's easier for me to see it in hindsight, but her strength, if she hits me, is not the good home board, but the good prime.
Yeah.
If I enter on the ace or deuce, I may be efficiently primed. So she could have switched to a prime game plan with all the risk associated, but it's not an easy position. To make the trade-off in wins and gammons is not easy. One way that generally I say, not with respect to this challenging position, generally I say that we need to play for the win. If we are looking at the gammons that we risk, then it can only steer us from the focus. So we should focus on winning. So
Marty, did you have a comment either about David's play or Ava's play here? You'd have
Marty,
to go up.
you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so here, right, so you can count the return shots after hitting with 5-2. And if you include double ones, which switches points, then I count 19 return shots. So that's really just about half the deck. And that's not like, it's fewer return shots than you might think without counting. So you know, you say it's like a tremendous game, and you have, you know, 4 numbers where David fans on the 2-point board, which that's a whopping game. And you know, since Ava's losing anyway, right? She, you know, if she loses 2 points, she'll be down in the Crawford game, and she's an under. You know, if she doesn't hit, she's certainly an underdog. And finally, you know, if David hits, then Ava may roll a deuce in return and re-anchor. So if you take that all together, it just seems that hitting is clear. The underdog really, like David said, you know, try to win the game. So that's all I want to say about this one.
Yeah, I agree. But just like Eva, it's easier said than done. So I admit that I'm not sure I would hit myself. I would definitely struggle with that.
Somebody is asking what you would have done.
Karen?
I think Marty had that question about David's play. Was it at the 5-1 or the double 3?
Oh no, forget about the double 3s. We can talk about that later. The double 3s for David said it doesn't matter all that much. And it's just like, okay, well, you're building more for the deuce point, which is an important point to make too. That's the only thing I wanted to say about that. But that's small potatoes compared to these big issues. Like, do you hit here?
Yeah, agreed. Okay. So Karen, someone asked whether you would hit here if you rolled the 2-5. When you saw the match, did you think that it's right to hit here? Karen, the question is directed at you.
You know, if it had been me, I would come out. Everybody knows I play a little too wild. So I would have hit on the 18.
I see. Okay.
And it looks like she would have gotten away with it. Your immediate response was a 2-1.
I don't know. I may have hit you with a 2-1. If she hits me and I roll a 2-1, oh, I may connect the midpoint. I would struggle with a 2-1 response then. Okay. The 10-7, as I said, I wasn't sure here. I now bear in against a deuce point game. So the 7 point is not ideal to have, but I had some work, so I wasn't sure. So actually this is I did not even consider that play. It's a nicer one. That's one that brings the checkers home faster. I was thinking that if I play 7 to 6, the option I considered was this one, which is quite wrong. So relative to the options I considered, I did well. So that's nice. Now the idea for the juice point game to make your board fast. I bring it home. That was a good roll for me. She loses timing. I explain why I cleared the bar point now. It's the Achilles heel of the juice point game. This is the last point to clear, my fives are horrible. Imagine that I don't have this blot right now. My fives force me to break the 6 point, not to mention a roll like a 6-5, which is disastrous. So when I bury in against a juice point game, I'm looking to clear the bar point as soon as I can. Now I am bearing off, no reason not to take one off. We play safe. The double 3 was very good for me. Double 2, I clear a point. Any point that we clear gets us closer to winning. Now I left a shot and she missed. It was small differences. I agreed with Eva about staying back to keep me busy for rolls like 5-2, which otherwise I would have filled the gap. And now she cannot keep me busy any longer. And I happen to roll very well. 4-1. Oh, it's a small error, but actually something interesting. So she needs to, Eva needs to maximize crossovers. What she did here in going to the 14, she actually duplicated the numbers that get a crossover for her. She gets a crossover with a deuce here and also here. So in trying to save the gammon, we also want to diversify the numbers that get us a crossover. So the right play would be making something like this. Now she gets a crossover with an ace and a 3. And with this play, if she rolls something like a 3-1, she gets only one crossover as opposed to this one. So that's I wasn't even paying attention. I was just rolling out of my mind here. And then she saved the gammon with these double 5s. And that's the story for this game. Any questions or comments before we move to the next one?
Yeah, we have.
Christian, we lost you. I just heard you say yes, and then you went silent.
I think something's going on with her internet.
Okay.
So we might have to wait a minute for her to come back so you can keep.
Okay. Thank you, Francis. So I'll keep going until Christian will be back. So now in that next game, it was fun and challenging. Christian, are you back with us?
I think I am. Can you hear me now?
I hear you well.
Okay. People want to know, just as a little break, what books you guys recommend they read?
There are many. Well, if I'm here meeting with Eva, I think it's the first book that I need to recommend is Zizi's book. So that is definitely a worthy book. But basically, there are so many good books today. It's just really good books. I enjoy reading them. I've read almost all books. So I don't want to recommend any specific one in particular, but I would say that I think it's better to focus on modern books, ones that are based on the bots and exchange specific. because the pre-bought books had great analysis, great philosophy, but the bots changed the game. So only those that are in line with the bots are good, and there are books for different purposes. If it's practice, positions, and analysis, or learning some new concept. So basically, I recommend to focus on more advanced books. I think those are really good. And I'm a bookworm, and certainly in Backgammon, so any new book that is out there, I buy it as soon as it's out. So I think that Eva would probably recommend on Zizi's book. Am I right, Eva?
Yeah, you are right, but also I would recommend Dirk Schumann books.
Yes.
I think this I didn't read yet, but I see it, but I think it's very interesting book. So
Yeah, I ordered it. It's on its way, but I just saw the content, and I think this can be a big jump in the game. It's sort of it has the potential to be the equivalent of Paul McGreal's book for the bots era. Definitely can be a big book. I'm very much looking forward to that, but I have yet to read it. It's just out. Okay, let's go over the second game quickly. So the 6-5 so far, normal standard opening. The 2-1, like I said, it's pretty close. Part of my study of the game was openings and third rolls. So I knew that this is the play. Again, it's small differences, no reason to discuss that further. Eva made a play that wasn't my first choice. Hitting deep should be either for attacking reasons or a tempo need. I did not see any of those requirements here. She wasn't ready to attack, nor was there any real need for a tempo play. The 5-1, she was right. I would have made the ace point with the logic, the flawed logic here, that if you make the ace, you get 2 points, the 8 point and the ace point versus the deuce point. So she was right here, but I always look to make 2 points rather than 1. I enter and keep it simple. Now that was a tough play for her, but everything is close. I hit to be ahead in the race, and then I'm back to play safe versus bold. So I need to play safe. I play down. The 2-6 wasn't easy, whether to come out and provoke contact in the outfield or to slot the bar point. She slotted it. My double twos, I wasn't sure about the remaining 2 after I made a 4 point and the 9 point. I chose to play the last one, 8-6, pair the safe versus bold. So notice how much I'm using that criteria of safe versus bold. I try to be disciplined to that, and still I make mistakes by not being disciplined enough, but I find it to be very important in the decision-making process on checker play. The 3-1 wasn't easy. There were several close plays. You need to play bold here. I considered also many options, wasn't easy for me as well. Double sixes, as I said, it wasn't an easy play at all. I blundered, I missed the game plan. I wanted to check the return hitting numbers. I think I was already under time pressure because I was trying to express my thinking process throughout. So this, I assume that with another homeboard point, I have fewer return shots. as opposed to this one. But this is a very strong prime, even though it's a gapped prime. I have a 5 prime, and I guess that was the best play here, to focus on that, on the prime, and to maybe again we need to count. I'm a bit lazy here because I want us to finish the analysis, so I'm not going to count the return shots, but I think it's also a key factor, as I want to play safe and not get hit. Luckily for me, it worked. So now I'm playing the safest. I played to the 14 and lifted from the 7. Again, in line with, I rather play ugly than lose beauty, because I am okay with the dilly builder on the 4 if I want to minimize the return shots. I got hit and for Eva in a way that she can balance a back game or a forward game. She can enjoy both worlds. I step up because I want to go for the race. The double 2 was very nicely played. She makes the switch, keeps the forward game plan alive, and aims at making the bar point. It can be a prime, it can be attacking. If I enter on the ace, making the bar point can be highly valuable for her. With the 1-4, now I need to switch to a safe play. Again, bold versus safe. Notice how much I use that. I could not break the midpoint, so I just played to the 4, as ugly as it looks. That was a very nice play by Eva, switching officially to a forward game, noticing that it's not a back game anymore. She has to let go of one of those anchors, and getting the 5 prime. I had a great roll here, escaping with a 5-6. The ace to slot the 6 was good. The 3, I'm actually okay with her play. Good chance that I would have made it to try and maximize contact and coverage, but it's a small error. Again, it's in line with the right idea. So if we are wrong, then those are the kind of mistakes that we would make. That's the errors that we make on execution, but that's not where the change in equity lies. That's where in trying to get the right game plan and avoid the blunders. My double 2s, I'm playing safe, adding a 5th checker on the 4 point because that is my safe play. The 5-1 was not easy. You make the 6 point, and then for the 5, wasn't easy, but again, noticing it's not a big difference. With my 4-1, as I said, it happens to be tight, but I'm playing safe.
Marty, I think Marty wants to weigh in a little bit here. Marty, do you want to step in?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I was thinking that the reason for getting off of the 18 point, both with the 4-1 and with the 3-1 at move 11 for Eva, would be that so that your 6s do not hit. You know, your 6s seem to be playing a lot worse if you don't hit. So like 6-5 or something like that. Like, okay, 6-5, 6-3, things like that. You would rather I think you would rather hit than not, especially with a 6 point open. And with after you make the 11 point, your only 6s are going to go 11 to 5. And so given that, it's not like this in the second case, Ava's avoiding being hit with a 6. It's just like trying to take more advantage of certain 6s, like 4-6 to be hit, 4-6 or 1-6 to be hit. That's just my thought. Just sort of if you've got some bad numbers already, maybe she should not give you a bunch of good numbers, whether they're duplicated or not. See what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. generally speaking, when we play from the opening, we should try to avoid giving our opponent good sixes, because as soon as we start the game, if you think about it, the sixes are not that good. When you open with a 6-2, 6-3, you split because that we know to split with that, but it's not such a good opening roll. And so we don't have good sixes. So when I play early in the game, I try to avoid letting my opponent have good sixes, which is basically a chunk of bad numbers, which I don't want to turn them into good numbers. So Marty's point is definitely valid and in place. Thank you. Okay. So now again, wasn't an easy play for Eva here. In connecting, I wasn't sure myself. The checker on the back, keeping it back on the ace, adds some contact, but on the other hand, it makes my life challenging in clearing my 11 point. I was not sure here. And once again, many different, very different plays and approaches are very close in equity. Now, even though I could have played by keeping the 8 point and play safe, I saw that it's a good opportunity to clear the 8. So we want to clear the points in order, but sometimes if we clear the second farthest point, it's also good because it may add some challenge into clearing the farthest point, but it's another task that is going to weigh on us soon. And I got that done now, and I cleared the 8 point. Plus, I see that the timing is a bit of difficult for Eva. So if she rolls something big, the first point she needs to break is the bar point. So I was more comfortable with that in bearing in. The double twos, yeah, it's for that reason. She killed the checker by making the switch from the 5. That way, even if she gets a shot and hits with the 5 point open, it's not as a strong, she's not dominating the game as well as when she has the 5. So this is a play that is sort of a half and half. She gives up a little bit of coverage, but she still has full coverage. And she still has a strong board without killing a checker. So at this point, that was a bit preferred. That was a forced play. She missed me. Now I'm playing safe. And I keep on playing safe. I took 2 checkers off rather than 6-1. So even though it's close, but if I play 6-1, I'm now odd on my 6 point. That means that with double 6s and double 5s, I leave a shot. So here she prepares for making her board. At this point, the only safe option would be to stack my 3 point, and there are problems here. Not just the odd number of checkers on the 6, it's also that my 4s are difficult. If I roll 6-4, 5-4, I saw the problem with 4s, so I could not avoid that. So basically, I left myself even, and it reduced the number of shots. Now she had to run the 2-1. I guess I was short on time, but this one as well leaves me with the minimum numbers that leave a shot, as opposed to this one. Now I was tempted to improve the distribution, get some spares on the 3 and 4, but I guess it was some more return, some more exposing numbers. So should have just taken the 1 off, think of safety. Generally, it reminds me that in this game, it's so hard to think several steps ahead with all the probability. It's not chess. In chess, the strongest players can think quite a few steps ahead. In Backgammon, I focus on the present, only on the next roll, with very few exceptions. So I focus on what will happen next. It's very hard to compute dependent probability of events that will happen in 2 roles. So for that reason, I try to minimize numbers for the next roll. 5-2. Now the flexibility was in place. Only 6-5 leaves the shot. And here again, I'm with the 4s, 6-4 and 5-4. So I minimized the numbers and had better flexibility. 6-4 was good. 5-1. Well, I'm used to doing that. It's a small error. My play would be correct if it was for money. I forgot that. I made it too fast. It was a dilemma of giving Eva 2 extra shots for taking an extra checker off. For money, my play would be correct because I lose a little bit from the 2 extra shots, but I gain more gammon. So the trade-off would justify taking the checker off. I think it was the time pressure that got me to miss the fact that I gain nothing from gammons here. So I should have minimized the number of shots. But I made the money play rather than paying attention to the fact that I gain nothing from gammons. She hit me. So I was punished for making the mistake. And from here, it was pretty much up to the dice to decide. And this is my story. So now I'm happy and encourage you to ask or comment on the game, on the match, or in Backgammon or on life, whatever comes to mind.
Thank you, David.
Well, thank you very much, David and Ava. Ava, did you have an additional point?
Sorry if I don't understand you. Karen, once more, please.
Good. I just wanted to thank both of you. This was really excellent. So thank you for your time. We will be putting this together as a recording, a video for YouTube. And those of you who have registered for the Women in Backgammon website will get a notice when that is ready. I also thank you for joining us today and urge you to put on your calendar January 11th, the second Monday of January, where we will again have Art Benjamin, the mathematician from why am I blocking on Harvard College, and who is famous for his TED Talks as a mathematician with over 20 million people viewing his TED Talks. But we'll also be joined on January 11th with Carol Joy Cole. Carol is a member of the American Backgammon Hall of Fame. She's on the Giants of Backgammon 64 list. She won the US Open in 2009, has won 3 ABT tournaments, but those of us in the US simply know her as the Queen of Backgammon. So do plan to join us on January 11th. Christine, do you have any closing comments?
You are muted, Christine.
Having a little technology trouble today. There was one comment I did want to make, and David was talking about to read the most recent books is maybe the best way to go. And as an intermediate player at best, when David said he focuses on the moment and on the play that's right in front of him, Zizi's book talks about the fact that Zizi always thinks about what's going to happen next before he makes that present play. And David, I just want to know if you wanted to comment on Zizi's book's premise that the first thing we should do is think about what's going to happen next rather than what's going to happen now.
Well, I don't think there's contradiction, so maybe I was misunderstood. When I mean
okay.
present is the coming role. So I want to focus on what's coming next, the next role, and not what will happen in 2 roles. It's very hard for us to compute the probability of what's going to be in 2 roles. actually we have some human bias that we tend to find some scenario. Usually it's a bad case scenario that can happen in several roles and give it too much weight. So to keep it simple, it's best to focus on the next coming role. That's what I try to do.
The comments section was great on here, and we're going to take some of the comments that were made and we're going to put them up on our social media. So we'll be putting some of the books that were recommended, et cetera, up there. We hope you'll continue to participate with Women in Backgammon. Thanks you guys for showing up today. Fabulous, fabulous session.
Well, thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you very much, and thank you, David, for great commentary.
Thank you, Eva, for being a great sports and a great match.
See you
Bye-bye,
soon.
everybody. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye-bye.